What's going on, guys? I hope you're having a great day out there. Guys, we're going to do a little shop time here. I know the last video was shop time, but this one's a little bit different. This isn't really about repairs. This is about some upgrades, changes, and trying to fix a few problems, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So any of you that's seen the last video with my V2 Kraton XL here, I cannot keep this thing in a straight line. I've been getting lots of feedback in the comments, and I appreciate that. And trying to go through why this thing is pulling so hard to the left. As soon as I try to get on that trigger a little bit, I mean, that thing just darts off like crazy, and it's driving me nuts. I mean, on the dirt, it's not quite as bad, obviously, but if I'm on the pavement or skate parks, I mean, it's next to impossible to keep this thing in a straight line, and it's driving me nuts. So I was chatting with a few guys, reading the comments. I was talking with Rich Duperbash, and he gave me a few pointers on some cars that he had the same problems with and what he did to kind of help or fix the problem. One of them being creating more towing the wheels out. He says that'll help them stay in a lot straighter line, especially under throttle and once it's up to speed a little bit. Either way, he said towing the wheels out helps a lot. He said about checking my pillow balls, some of you guys mentioned in the comments. Also checking my camber and everything on my back wheels. I got to take a look at that, and we're going to go over that, but I also got some goodies in the mail. Now, also on both of my Kraton XLs, I have not been able to keep a center brace in either one of these. I keep bending or breaking the tower-to-tower brace on both of these cars, the stock one. So I got some of the new Basher Queen carbon fiber ones here. We're going to get these installed on both the V1 and the V2. Get these put in there. And also, this is the new motor mount from M2C Racing that we're going to get installed in probably, I don't know, one of my two Kraton XLs. This is the new Arrma motor mount that they're working on. They're kind of fine-tuning some stuff, but we're going to get this thing installed. Get a nice motor mount in this thing, and hopefully get my Kraton XL from wanting to dart off into nowhere's land. Jackhammer is still waiting for some parts, working on a new motor mount for that. And also, I have a motor coming for it, a new motor. It's one of the Gen 2 motors from Hobby Wing that we're going to keep with my Max 6 that's in there. But anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead, bring down one of the Kraton XLs here and start working on all the weirdness. This is the V1 Kraton XL. This tower-to-tower brace, as you can see, this is broken. It's been broken. Every time I take it out for bash, it breaks out, and it's just not staying together. So we're going to throw one of the new Basher Queen tower-to-tower braces in here. We're going to get that installed. And I was just looking at the camber and my wheel setup on the V1 versus my V2. And as you guys can see, this one is honestly pretty jacked up. I mean, this wheel is completely wrong. Both these cars I've been having the same problems with, but the V2 I seem to have the worst. So we're going to get these things cambered back in a little bit the way they're supposed to. My front, I think I need to get my left side there cambered out a little bit more. And the only thing we can do is take it up for its next bash and find out. But let's go ahead and get the tower-to-tower brace in here, and we'll start working on the camber. All right, well, out with the old and in with the new. And man, does that thing look beautiful. Can't wait to see how this one holds up. Like I said, all the stock ones I've either tacoed and completely bent or constantly busting off the ends. So hopefully, the new Basher Queen one here holds up great. So now, I'm just going to work on the camber here for a moment, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. I am no camber expert, obviously, and that's part of learning. I've never really dealt with, the perfect camber setup, and every car is a little different. So I'm going to get this thing set up to how I think it should look. Then you guys let me know in the comments what you think. Now, I know it's kind of hard to see and concentrate just on the back wheels of the video, but I think the rear looked pretty good. So I'm going to go with this on the back of this one. All right, and here is the front. Gave it a little bit of toe out, and all my pillow balls and everything seems to be tight. I mean, the servo and everything on this one runs very smooth. The servo saver is nice and tight, like it's not too loose. So we're going to take, at least next time we have the V1 out, we'll see how this one handles. But let me know what you guys think. Centering everything, it looks pretty normal to me, or looks pretty good. I know some illusions on the camera and angles might look weird on camera, but that's what I'm looking at. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go ahead and get the V2 down now and see if we can get figured out with that one. So I just got the V2 down here on the bench, and I laid it down and got everything set up, and I think I'm already seeing my problem, guys, if you don't see it. This wheel right here is massively towed in. I don't know how I haven't noticed that. The back doesn't look too bad, except I think I need to bring both of them in, camber them in just a little bit, maybe a turn or two. But the front here, I think would explain why it's wanting to dart off to the left, because this wheel is constantly steering to the left. So maybe this won't be too much of a mystery to fix, but I'm going to fix the back here first, then do the front, and then we're going to change out the center brace, and we're also going to install the new M2C Racing motor mount here in my pile of mess in my V2. What this motor mount will do, guys, is it has a fine-tuning adjustment in here where you can set your mesh absolutely just perfect and spot on. Rather than having to sit there and try and slide it and tighten up the screws, and many times when you tighten up the screws, your mesh shifts off a little bit. This little bolt right here is your fine-tuning adjustment. It lets you get that mesh absolutely perfect and lock it in. So they will be having this out. I don't believe this is out in the store. It's still in the testing phases. But guys, can't wait to get this thing installed here and be able to get the motor mesh nicely done and a proper one made by M2C. But guys, we're going to go ahead and do the camber, and then I'll bring you guys back when I get that set how I think it should be. All right, I just had power hooked up through here, hooked up to my radio link, the RC8X. I've been really enjoying that transmitter. The only thing I've noticed about it is if you run it on AAAs, on the AAA battery pack, the battery time is not very long, but on the lipo packs, it's awesome. But anyway, so I got the camber all set up here. The back, to me, looks really good. I've got a nice little camber in. And finally, the front now, as you can see, I think I got them pretty spot on. They got a little bit of toe out. Everything looks even. My servo saver on this one is a little bit loose. So I think I got to try and tighten that thing up. But I got to pull some mud guards off here to get that little nut tightened up on the servo saver, because it's definitely way too loose. But besides that, I think all my camber finally looks good. And it was definitely way out. But I'm going to go ahead, adjust my servo saver, change out the center brace, and I'll bring you guys back when all that part's done, because the motor mount's going to take a little more time, and I'm not going to bore you with the whole entire installation. All right, we got the center brace on this, but as you can tell, this was a new one, and it's bent and tacoed already, and this whole end piece is completely stripped and ripped out. So that's the end of these ones, and we'll be lightening up the car a little bit with the carbon fiber one. So should be really nice. I heard really great things about these center braces, so I'm excited to give these a test out. Okay, we got the Creighton XL V2 all put back together again. We got the camber set, which I think looks pretty good on here. And we got the new Basher Queen center tower-to-tower brace mounted up in here. And I can't wait to take this thing out for next bash. I did get the servo saver tightened up a little bit. I didn't get it as tight as I wanted, honestly. But it kind of stopped, so I think I might have to change it out. Or maybe I'll go with an aftermarket one in here, because it's definitely still a little too loose, but it's better than it was before. Now, I was thinking about putting the new motor mount in this car, the XL2. But I'm honestly having second thoughts. I'm thinking about putting it in my Typhon, because I am trying to get this thing set up for a long distance jump. And I'm thinking, I can really fine tune the mesh depending on the gears I put in here and all that stuff. So I think I might actually put the new motor mount in my Typhon. So I think we're going to call it a day on the XL V2, and I'll get working on this, and I'll bring you guys along at different points along the way. I'm not going to make this a giant long video, but I want to see, show you guys, what it looks like and installed and how the adjustment works. All right, I'm going to start gutting out the motor and the center mount and everything, and getting everything stripped out of here first and get it out of the way. All right, well, we got everything stripped out of there, all the center diff cage, and we got the new one out here ready to mock up. Gonna start kind of laying the stuff in place and getting it fitted up. And guys, this is made out of some beautiful stuff. M2C always does some just amazing work on their products. But let's go ahead and get this thing fitted up. And I got to get the pinion and slide off of the motor in order to get the new one on. This is the stock motor from the Typhon. And any of you guys that have been around this channel long enough have seen the abuse that this car has had. And the sheer fact that this motor is still working and holding together is just a sheer miracle. All right, well, we got the whole motor mount set up, bolted up in here. I had to use all new screws in here with some blue Loctite. When I pulled my old motor mount screws out, every single one of them were bent. I mean, they came out wobbling back and forth. So that thing has had some strain on these screws. So when I replaced all new screws, got these fitted up on here. I'm about to mount the slide on my motor. At some point, I am going to change out the electronics. And some people have asked me, why haven't you put another system in here? Well, my answer is because I'm thoroughly impressed with this setup right now. A lot of Spectrum stuff, I have problems with motors dying, but I refuse to change this out until the system dies at this point, because I'm curious to see how long it will last. Man, that is just beautiful. So nice and smooth, but the tolerances are nice and tight. Just Beautiful work. I'm going to go ahead and get the pinion fitted up on here, and then we're going to get this piece right. Where did it go? Oh, right here. See, I'm losing, guys. This piece is what mounts up in here in order for you to be able to finally adjust your mesh, because a little ball slides in there and you're able to pull it back and forth really smoothly and nicely to be able to get that fine-tune adjustment. And I'll show you how that works. Real quickly, I figured I'd show you guys how this basically works. The little ball snaps into this part of the motor mount that's permanently attached to your motor, and then this comes on and off to adjust it. But as you turn it in, it pushes the motor in, or when you turn it out, it slides it out. So you can get just the absolute perfect mesh. This is just an awesome idea M2C came up with, because, you know, setting mesh can always be a real pain, but they are making things easier and just a great setup. So I'm going to go ahead and finish getting this thing together, and I'll show you when we fine-tune my mesh. All right, well, we got all of our center, the shims in here. Not actually sure what these are called, but at any rate, the thicker one goes to the back. The thinner one goes in the front. You'll see there's two different sizes in there. Go ahead and slide those in there. It does have all your holes and mounting stuff set up for if you do have the cage in there, and the hardware is provided for that. There's these little grub screws right here that will help tighten down your pins and all that. All the hardware you need is included with the package here. But I'm going to go ahead and get the top plate mounted up, and then I think I'm about ready to set my mesh. I think I got to set my pinion in just a little bit closer, though. One other awesome thing they did with this motor mount, which is one of the biggest upgrades that every single Arrma car needs, are these top motor mount screws. They come with those the M2s that are just junk. They strip out really easy. So they actually included now the proper bolts, the washers, and there's 3 points of contact on here. So you can actually get the right screws right off the bat to get this thing mounted up too. And that's what it looks like with all of them in there. Tell me that ain't one beefy mount, guys. All right, guys, so I got all my screws tightened up. Well, they're not tightened up. They're just barely snug. I got my adjuster set up here. Got it in place. And as you can see right now, my mesh is pretty loose. It definitely needs to be tightened up. So I'm going to go ahead and crank this screw in here, down here, as you can see. And we're just going to feel this until I get it to exactly where I want it. And, no, maybe a little bit less. Right there feels perfect. I think that's what I'm going to go with. This has been the mesh I've always used on all my bashers. Just a very light little click, because that way it's got enough mesh anywhere. If it does get, you know, a little tighter in certain areas, it's got a tiny bit of play, but just get that tiny little movement. It's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that. Okay, well, we got everything all fitted up. Got the motor hooked back up again. I did use the motor support that they sent along. I also used that and some hot glue to kind of hold everything in place down there. But the motor's nice and supported now in the back, and everything looks awesome, guys. I mean, the mount just fit up beautiful. The tolerances are just on point with the center diff and the gears in there. There's not any of that movement you get with the stock stuff, and she just feels great. Okay, everybody. Well, at the beginning of the video, when I first was talking about this motor support, I first thought it was for a bigger can, and I was just actually speaking with Avery Looper, and what this is set up for is actually for the can, even a normal can like the stock motor, but you want 1/8 inch of a gap between that motor support and your chassis to allow for a little bit of chassis flex with this whole setup. So when I misspoke earlier in saying about having to fill that and make it all tight, you don't want to do that. So I just want to make sure everybody was aware of that before I finished out this video. I was learning stuff as I was going. I've been out of the loop a little bit on when this motor mount was being developed because I've been working so much. I missed some of the notes about this thing. So kind of learning a little bit as I go. But that is what you want. You want 1/8 inch of clearance between your motor and your chassis when you install this motor mount. But guys, that's going to do it. The Type is all fixed up and ready to rock. Hopefully me and Trevor this week are going to go out and take the ramp out, and we're hoping to go out and give this thing some massive sends along and have some other fun with a bunch of other cars. But I hope you enjoyed the little install video of the new M2C motor mount and getting the new Basher Queen center support setup on my Creighton XLs. Hopefully don't have any more problems with those. But I hope you enjoyed the little shop video here, guys. But that's going to do it. So until next time, y'all be safe. Be careful out there. Peace out, everybody.